Pace, choose to inspire, not destroy podcast, and we're back.
Listening.
Peace. Choose to inspire, not destroy podcast, episode 41, and we're back. I got my guys with me, Kofi, Brandon, I'm G. We're joined by a really special guest this time, Chanel Duchaine. She's our first female guest, y'all. She's in the building, came through the Blessed platform. If this is your first time here, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. If you've been here before, you already know what's up. Hope life is good and you're being inspired. What's going on, y'all? It's been a while. First, Chanel, welcome.
Thank
it's
you.
Such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for sitting down and kicking it with us and spending some time, man. I feel like it's going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
How you doing, G? Let's start off with you.
Start out with me?
Yeah,
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Rejuvenated. It's been a couple of months since we sat down and recorded.
Ooh.
So this one is a good one for me. I was a little nervous at first because it was like, damn, it's been a minute and I wonder what it's gonna feel like to do it. But once you get back to it, it just feels good to kick it with my guys and to know that we got somebody that wanted to sit down and chop it up with us. So I feel great. I feel inspired. How about that? I'm feeling like
cool.
Mr. Peace again, man. I'm back.
Nice. Yeah, man. I'm good out here. You know, everybody's happy and healthy. My godmom's actually caught the COVID. Right?
No.
So that was a little nervous.
Yeah.
She went on a trip to overseas and came back.
No.
As soon as she got to Florida, they were like, nah. Luckily she got family out there, so she got to stay with family. But she's vaccinated, so it's not like a severe case, but she got like a pretty decent case for a vaccinated person.
You know it's bad if Florida is Florida was like another planet during COVID. They were like, COVID? What do you guys do?
They're still kind of crazy. Like, yo, whatever you want to do, don't worry about it.
Governor death sentence down there.
Yeah.
Kof, you good? Because I'm about to get to Miss Lady over here.
Wait, before you go that far, Kof, how's the baby? Can we hear an update?
Ixnay on the AA talk. Ixnay on that one. I ain't trying to have to do too much editing. We gotta talk about that offline. You know, Kof is like he's like a superhero. You know, he don't want his identity out there. He like Tom Cruise or something. Kof, you know I got you, bro. You know I got you.
That's good to hear.
It's all right.
I wasn't gonna dive too deep.
Breathing.
Yeah.
I don't care about that. I have no problem murdering somebody, strangling them, and watching their soul leave their body while we're making eye contact as they're dying. So that's not a problem.
Yikes.
Nice. Finally, we got some emotion out of this dude. Usually he'd be like so stale, but
like that's
Kids
a promise.
do that to
That's
you.
not even emotion. That is a promise.
Yeah.
Yep. I say that as well. I will smile in my mugshot when it has to do with the kids, you know.
100%.
I think everyone has a little bit of serial killer in them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nature, right? Like as a parent, you're supposed to defend your kid, right? Like you protect the flock.
Oh wait, no, I was talking about in general. Like I have no problem. Like it's all right. Like you want to push me that far? Cool.
Yeah.
I'll be in your house.
That's another offline conversation. Yeah, Kofi different right now. He going through some stuff. Next time we see him, he might have like a little hair on his head too. You start seeing him wearing a do-rag trying to get waves or something, you know it's crazy.
Fall back.
Yeah, leave that man alone. Cutting his own grass for once.
I love it.
Chanel, what's going on? How are you? Before we get into, why I wanted you to come on the show, what's going on with you? How you doing?
I'm great. I'm doing really good. I'm at a really good spot in my life right now. So I'm super blessed. I'm coming from a place of like gratefulness lately. Like you really can't go wrong when you're grateful, and that's where I'm at right now. Work's busy. I have children, so they keep me going. And it's just, I travel back and forth between Massachusetts and New York a lot. So I'm just, I do my thing, so.
All right. She came to play. She started out with a nice little one. You can't go wrong when you grateful. All right, we're going to put a little counter up. I'm going to put a counter up there because, again, I say the catchy stuff on here, but I see you trying to challenge me a little bit. It's
it's so funny. My boyfriend, he says that all the time. Like I drop the bombs all the time. And that's my superpower. I'm a bomb dropper, so.
Gotta be. All right. So I saw on Instagram you were a part of a woman's summit. I don't really have too much information on it, so I kind of want you to break it down as to what it was, what you do, because I asked Lamar if you speak and you motivate and you inspire and all of that. So I'm gonna have to put you on the spot a little bit because I think that's really important that we get a woman's perspective on what's going on with women. Like we need to know what's happening on the other side because these are our partners, these are our sisters, our mothers. We're in direct contact and we affect each other more than I think we know, and that we try to understand. So you giving us a little peek behind the curtain.
Absolutely. And, like I had mentioned before, prior to the podcast, I have been following you guys too. I've been watching for a while now, and it gives me that insight into, into the male mind and what's going on because, we don't talk about, men's issues as much as we should. We don't talk about, men's mental health and what's going on with men. And so I love that. And I love the fact that you in turn were kind of watching what I was doing. So I appreciate that. I don't speak, professionally. I'm in HR in the largest healthcare provider in Western Massachusetts. And I've been in HR for like 20 years. Back in 2019, I started I was ending kind of this run where I was having a really tough time in life, really just struggling, a complete rock bottom. And, and I found just a different way to live, and I started posting my thoughts online, with a selfie because I also am a self-taught photographer. So I loved that too. And, me posting my thoughts in the selfie was kind of like the equivalent of talking to myself in the mirror, giving myself self-affirmations. But lo and behold, people started watching and following and really like relating. And that's really kind of what saved me, was identifying with other people, And so this summit that you just saw, this conference, it's called Elevate Her. And it was put on by two different organizations. The first one was Mentor Maryland, DC. Their group in the Maryland and Washington, DC area that really support mentorship. And that is super important. And then the second organization that put this summit on is a organization called Anna Zach, and I'll give you the information for it so you can link it to your YouTube. But Anna Zach is a foundation that my family had started back in 2016, I believe. I had two cousins that were murdered. My cousin Zach, in September of 2012, was gunned down in the street in Charlotte, North Carolina. He was 25. And it's crazy because the Democratic National Convention was in Charlotte at the same time, just on the other side of town. And that was so devastating to my family. And then in 2015, November, my 17-year-old cousin Ananias was stabbed in his biology class and died almost a month later.
Wow.
2 months prior to that, my grandmother had passed away, and she was such a huge influence in all of our lives. So, it was like it's back to back to back grief and heartache and struggle. And my aunt really had a tough time, and she's been involved with mentorship for like over 20 years. She lives in the Baltimore area, and to help her get through this grief, she started this foundation, which is Ananias Zach. And what it really does is it supports mentoring programs, because that's the most important thing. These kids are coming up. They're in a really tough time. We're in a really bad state in the world right now. And these kids are in these cities where they don't have access to anything. I feel like, society's kind of setting our kids up, right? So like, especially underprivileged children at this point are being set up to where either you have to be a rapper, a celebrity, an athlete, which really is not reasonable, right? Or your other choice is to go into the military. And so it's backing these kids into a corner, and like what these mentorship programs are doing is showing them that it's a better way. There's a better way. So this summit was for women and girls. It was women in entrepreneur roles, women in STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math. To come in and run some workshops. And I ran a workshop that was basically based in photography, but how selfies and social media are shaping how we see ourselves and how we present ourselves in the world. The foundation, the Ananias Zach Foundation, is going to be putting on our own summit. We're hoping in October down in Maryland. And that'll be for young women and young men, because that is a real big issue right now, is our young men. We need mentors, and we need people to show these kids what Black excellence truly is. So,
do you guys have a website or something that people can go to if they want more information on Ananias Zach?
Yeah, absolutely. It's ananiaszach.com. So it's NIAS. That's Ananias was his name. So the website is ANANIZACH.com. Yeah. And I'll send that to you too as well.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
If you don't mind, I heard you said something that I just wanted to dig a little deeper in. You was like at I think you said 2019 you were kind of on a low spot in your life, right? And you kind of turned it around and went a different route. But do you mind like saying like what kind of brought you into a low spot and what brought you out of it? Like, how did you make that transition?
Yeah, so like the low spot was just like everything, my entire life kind of culminating, stuff that was environmental, so how I grew up, and the types of families that I grew up in. Some of it was, lack of coping skills, if that makes any sense. And I developed a substance abuse issue. And so I entered recovery in March of 2019. And that's really what kind of changed my life for me, because it wasn't just kind of like putting down the alcohol. It was really like digging deep and figuring out like, who am I? What type of behaviors have I been exhibiting that are, are working for me, and what's not working for me, and who do I want to be? Because like, that's the thing, right? When we wake up in the morning, it's like a new chance to be who we want to be, and I really embraced that. So
was it hard to like acknowledge that you had a substance abuse problem? Because I find that like within our community, like we know a lot of people who are like definite abusers, and they're just like, nah, I'm good. Like I don't need. I just
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because, like in our case, and maybe in a lot of other cultural, backgrounds, it's the same way. But like I can only speak for mine. Like in my case, we're taught at a generational level, like we don't go and seek therapy. That is taboo. You don't talk about what goes on outside your house. You know. So it's like this situation where it was extremely difficult. It kind of set me up to go this route. And then once I was in the thick of it, it was hard to get out because you don't talk about it. You don't, I think that, like my grandparents' generation, everything was like, you don't go to therapy, you just need Jesus. You need to go to church, or you need to get your act together. Like this belt or this switch is going to be the cure. Right. And it's, and it's just not. It's just not. We're in a different time now, too, So it was extremely difficult. The other thing is that I struggled specifically with alcohol. So alcohol is like the substance that is like so socially acceptable to the point where, like, if you go somewhere and you're not drinking, people want to know why you're not drinking. Nobody asks you if you go out to eat why you're not like doing crack, or nobody asks you why you're not popping pills after the salad. You know what I mean? But if you don't drink, people are like, what's going on?
I think it depends on the circle, right?
Definitely. And then also in my case, I started late in life. I started drinking at like 34. So I had already had a career. I was married at the time, had 2 kids, had the house, had the dogs, was the PTO president, was the football mom. Like, I hid it really well because I had been conditioned to do that all my life. Because again, you don't talk about what's outside the house. If everything looks okay on the outside, DCF or ACS or CPS doesn't get involved. The schools don't ask questions. Your family don't ask questions. So you learn at a young age to project whoever, the best version of you, so people leave you alone. And so I did that really well. There's people that are in my life that still cannot wrap their head around the fact that I have an issue. Because I hid it so well for so long, but you hide it until you can't anymore, because they say alcohol is a solution, but it's not the solution. It worked till it didn't.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to hear you say how I think a lot of men actually feel. It's almost like it's the same coin, just a different side. To hear that women are struggling with damn near the same things that men are walking around struggling with, hiding how they really feel, trying to just self-medicate and get by the way that they feel like they need to get by. And we need to talk a lot more. We need to try and find out what's going on with each other a lot more, because we got a lot in common, and there's some strength in that.
And I think that, our parents and our parents' parents and society puts expectations on all of us, right? So like, it's hard to, as a man, it may be hard to wrap your head around the fact that like a woman has a substance abuse issue or mental health. That's huge too. We don't talk about mental health, because we're trying to do everything and be everything. Like the modern independent Renaissance woman is like the goal, right? And so, and it's the same vice versa. Like you said, for a man to admit that he has a substance abuse issue or mental health issues, or even just struggling with day-to-day stuff, taking care of kids, the job, the household, everything, like to admit that it takes so much, because our expectations on you are don't show emotion. You're supposed to protect the family. So don't show emotion, because emotion is weakness, and I can relate to that because it was like that in my family. Emotion was a sign of weakness, and weakness was bad for business, so.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. We spoke about that on the episode about children learning what they live. You think they're not watching, but they're watching, and they're slowly picking up all of those habits and that behavior and not knowing that it's gonna hurt them in the end. In the long run, it's gonna create so much damage that it's just gonna be a job really to try and shake all of that stuff that they picked up, and it's tough.
Yeah. It is. And it's tough. And that's kind of where I'm at right now is like, how do we break these curses? How do we break these generational curses? These things that were not all our fault, passed down, how do we break that and how do we get out of that cycle? And that's kind of like what I'm exploring now because it's the same thing with me. I'm big on accountability these days, though. At saying that being said, we are not the mistakes that we've made, just like we're not the things that have happened to us, so what are we doing right now? You come to a point where you could have like the most horrible situation growing up, but you got to make a choice eventually. Who am I going to be today? Because you have that opportunity. Who am I going to be today? And so where the accountability comes in is recognizing that you have a part in everything. Everything. And it might not, in recognizing that, like, just because we make mistakes, it doesn't make you a bad person, right? Like, we're human beings. We don't grow when everything's fabulous. We grow when we come out of the darkness. We grow during the struggle. So embracing the idea of making mistakes and looking at it as an opportunity to change and to get to that next level. For me, that's how I've been doing it so far, staying accountable. So recognizing I have a part in everything. I'm not always right. Sometimes I'm the problem. I'm the toxic one. I'm admitting it right here on the podcast.
Yeah, finally somebody else came on here and admitted they're the problem.
Yes, I am the toxic one.
That's gonna be your ringtone.
Yes.
You know that.
So,
you hit it.
Question around accountability and what you just said about you don't grow if everything is rosy. Like, and you also mentioned that you were a self-taught photographer and you were teaching the young women during the summit about photography. And like, are there any lessons you tie all of that together with, especially as you're teaching these young ladies about photography and the whole like world of like Instagram and like, I mean, first of all, I'm scared to go on Instagram and really post anything because I'm scared I'm going to hit the wrong button and my entire library of photos is up there.
What you got in your library, bro?
I mean, lesson one is that like literally nothing on the internet is private, nothing. And once it's on there, it doesn't matter if you delete it and you think that it's gone, it's not gone.
Oh, somebody's got a screenshot.
Yeah, screenshots are everything. I win so many arguments from screenshots, so I know all about that. But no, you know what? So the reoccurring theme, the one that ties like this mentorship, that ties my recovery, that ties like my photography and my personal journey is this idea of like low self-worth, because this is where a lot of the struggles that I had kind of stem from, this never feeling quite good enough, feeling this no matter what I do, I just can't get ahead. Like, what is wrong with me type of situation. And recognizing that like self-worth and self-confidence and self-esteem are three different things. Self-worth, we all are worth something simply because we're here, period. That's it. No matter what you believe in, what your religion is, whether you believe in karma, whatever, we are worthy because we're sitting here, Self-confidence comes from being good at something. I'm good at talking, so here I am, like, da, 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 you know what I mean? But like, and then self-esteem is like this thing that you build within yourself, that makes you want to do better and be better. So that is how I connected it all. I had to learn some self-worth, right? Because my self-worth is not dependent on my performance. Just because I do well doesn't mean I'm a good person, or vice versa. Because I made a mistake, I'm bad. But in recovery, I've learned like I'm here for a reason. Like, there's so many times where like I should not be here right now. And by the grace of whatever you want to believe in, I'm sitting here with you guys tonight. You know, and so that's, you know, magic alone. And then with these girls, you know, we over sexualize young women, and that's just a fact. Especially young Black girls, you know, they're the highest rate of sexual assaults are Black girls under 16, you know, and the internet helps that like it ain't nobody's business. So, you know, I kind of framed the workshop in a way to present to them, like, so I'm very business oriented, you know, and so this, like, market yourself in the right light in the sky. You know, and that's really kind of what we focused on. So it was like, you know, prior to recovery was my downfall, recovery was the turning point. And this, you know, this mentorship workshop was kind of like this is my success story. And this is how we're going to change the way social media affects how we feel about ourselves, you know.
You feel like it's part of the journey for you? It's part of the healing? Like, now that you came up out of the darkness and now you're helping and you got a certain purpose, you feel like it wasn't really all worth it, but it was all a part of your life journey?
Yeah, I'm open to new experiences today because, like, so we don't know, you know, we have these ideas, right, when we're younger of like where we want our life to be and what we want. And I've learned that, like, that's not the case. That's not going to happen. The best plans are no plans because they never work out. But I didn't want to do this mentoring workshop. I had gotten involved with this. My family and I had gotten together because we're going to have that event in October. And I have a financial marketing, human resources background. So I was going to assist my aunt with like paperwork and, you know, the backside of stuff. And then, you know, we wanted to do a representation of like what we're doing at the summit. And my cousins threw me under the bus, was like, we got a photographer in the family. And here I was, but I had no idea that I even wanted to do this workshop. And I was so nervous up until that morning. And I got there and it was almost like, that's what I was meant to do at that moment in time. Somebody needed to hear that, or I needed to say it out loud. I don't know. But so the idea that, like, you know, it's nice to have dreams and goals, but be open to the fact that there's some stuff that's coming our way we didn't even know we wanted. And in turn, this stuff that we think we want in the grand scheme of things means nothing at all.
Man, the quote that always comes to mind, and it's going to sound a little left because it's from Charlemagne from the Breakfast Club. But when he's like, in his book, he was like, fuck your dream. If that's not really your dream, right? Like, if you just want to rap because everybody around you is rapping, then fuck that dream, right? Like, find the thing you're good at. Find the thing that you enjoy doing. Or it'll find you, and you got to be open to it, right? Like, you got to make sure you go to the doors that's meant for you.
Yep. I say that all the time, especially to I have a 17-year-old son, and I say it to him all the time. Like, you have to keep your hands clear. Like, if your hands are full of expectations, unrealistic dreams, desires, negativity, whatever, your hands aren't clear to catch your blessings. And your blessings 9 times out of 10 are stuff you don't even know. You couldn't even imagine. You know, so keep your hands clear, you know. Yeah, it's just been a wild journey. It's been a wild journey, but like, again, like I said, it's, you know, it's being open, you know, being open to the process, you know.
Are you religious? We don't have to like get deep into it, but I'm just curious. Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not hardcore. Like, I don't go to midnight mass on Christmas anymore, nothing like that.
You don't got no holy water in your bag?
Yeah. You know what I like to say? I'm actually spiritual, right?
Okay.
So, like, spiritual and religious can mean the same thing. They can. I believe in God. Like, I consider myself spiritual. But it can also mean completely different things because, like, I feel just as close to God like out on the beach or hiking in the woods as I do sitting in a church. Okay. So I think it's like that sense of inner peace and serenity. And I think like, one's not any better than the other, so yeah, I consider myself spiritual.
I agree. We on the same page with that one. We tied. Me and you against the other two. The other two guys. That's why they not saying nothing. Sitting there looking crazy.
Yo, I don't knock nobody's hustle.
Especially the preacher hustle. But anyway. They
the
got more
thing
private
is,
jets
though,
than most people I know.
yeah, it's like a personal preference, and I think that so like recovery's taught me to believe in like a higher power, right? So the idea of a higher power, it can be God, it absolutely could be, but it could be anything else. Like as long as it's not you, if it's greater than you and it's loving and caring, like it doesn't matter. So that could be karma, that could be your kids, that could be your dog, that could be your favorite blanket. It doesn't matter as long as you believe in something, because if you don't believe in anything, you'll fall for anything. You know what I mean?
I find the opposite. I find that because I don't believe, I am less likely to fall for things, right? Because I feel like I'm more critical of things than people who are like have faith, right? Because
Right.
I don't have faith, I don't have that that disconnect where I can believe in something that might, with all due respect, that might not make sense, right? Like things that kind of separate from reality. I don't have that leap, so it takes more to convince me.
I think too, we get hung up on language. I think the biggest issue that we struggle with, like in communicating with each other, is language. Like the word faith, or the word religious, or the word spiritual. Faith. Like if you have a tough situation at work coming up, and that you're gonna like get through it because you're confident in your skills and everything else. Well, that's faith, really. Believing that, believing in what you're capable of, like that's faith. And you believe in something, you believe in evidence, you believe in science, and that's bigger than you know. So like I said, I think we get hung up on that. It scares a lot of people in early recovery because like some of the programs talk a lot about, they use the word God, and it turns a lot of people away, but it doesn't have to be like that. Just get outside yourself for 2 seconds and and be open.
Amen, sister. Amen.
Well said.
Yeah.
I want to step back and get into the just dealing with these girls in social media, man, because I have a daughter. She's 11. She's on TikTok 24 hours a day, bro. It's like she wake up before she go to school, she brushing her teeth, she's on TikTok. TikTok. And it's scary because it seems like now a lot of these little girls, they think they have to present themselves in a certain way to be accepted or to be liked. They crave attention so much that it's almost like, what will they do to get that attention? And you can only watch them and monitor them for but so long. They go to school, they out in the world, and they're going to be whoever they're going to be. And that's why I wanted to talk to you, because I really respect the idea of trying to teach these girls to value themselves more than the value everybody else puts on them.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I really try to impress on the young ladies is that, the idea of it not going away. So like employers are looking at social media right now. I'm in human resources. I look at our employees' social media because I want to see if you can cause our company harm by what you're posting. Schools, like certain colleges and that sort of thing, will check out a candidate's social media and that sort of thing. So, it's so much bigger than the lunchroom table in 8th grade at this point. Not only are you opening yourself up to safety issues like predators and that sort of thing, but like professionally, it can really hinder where you go. And so we really talked a lot about that. It's tough, but I do have to tell you, it's not just women. I have 2 boys. And so the teenage boys are just as bad on social media at this point as the ladies. I think women are, we tend to see women as more vulnerable, and that might, have a little something to do with that. But the boys, it's just as bad. So it's a real issue, but it's how we communicate. It's an easy way. It's our easy way out, right? Because like when we were all younger, we had to talk to each other face to face. Our instant messenger was meeting out, at the stoop before we head to the park to, whatever. But like now that's how they communicate. And then you add in COVID the last couple of years. And like some of these kids don't know anything besides Zoom or, or social media as a means of communication. And that's hard, But they can do things we can't do either. I had the girls actually teach me part of the workshop because some of the tricks that you can do with like iPhones and stuff like that, it blows my mind.
Yeah, it's really
so
advanced
old right now.
I'm about to have her running my TikTok for the show. That's gonna be her first little job. I was talking to her about it. If she take it serious, I'll do it because she's really good. And I want her to understand that you can fall back on just being really good, being talented, and being smart. You don't got to fall back on your looks.
Yep. And focus on your strengths, like where you can go with it, what you can do with that. I'm trying to get my boyfriend, he owns a business as well, and I'm trying to get him to use some of the social media platforms to his advantage. He's on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that, but TikTok is like the new rave. And like, let's use this because these short little videos, I mean, you could go anywhere with that. So a lot of businesses are using those now too to like recruit employees, advertising and marketing, and that sort of thing. So that's really what I was trying to like, to get to them. It is a little bit advanced for them because we're talking about like middle school and young high school girls, but I feel like it's never too early,
Just out of curiosity, and I'm just wondering, is there a component of as you're going through and like teaching this and they're teaching you, like, is someone asking, and I know they're young, but like, especially like as they start to get older and you deal with like older kids, like just be realistic, right? With yourself and like your abilities and like that. I feel like being realistic with yourself and like what you can do, or like if you're really into the way you look, being realistic with the way you look, and like cuts a lot of like the, I guess you can call it gaslighting or whatever it is. Like, oh, you could be this. No, you can't. Like, you can't look like Beyonce because you don't have her genetics. Like, you don't come from her mother and father. So it doesn't really make sense to try and buy all this makeup that's being sold to you to look like her because you don't have the bone structure. Like, she has high cheeks. You have low cheeks. You have like, a dimple in like the middle of your chin. She doesn't. Like, what are you going to do? Run to get plastic surgery to do that? And like for the guys, like, you be realistic, right? Like, you don't have Maserati mom in middle school. So relax, right? But like, I don't know. I feel like, at least from like observations I've made, like there's a lot of good work that's going on, but like sometimes it feels like there's a lack of just like be realistic with yourself. Like, listen, you may be really good at high school basketball, but if you've tried to play against a college basketball player, reality is going to hit you really hard, right? So unless you decide to actually get better at it, like you're not going to be able to compete on that level. So stop selling yourself this dream or letting people sell you this dream that you can make it there if you just buy these sneakers, if you just take this, if you just like there's a whole like I feel like reality has left or never existed in that world.
Yeah. It's hard because you got to find the balance, right? Because like with everything in life, there's a balance. So you want these kids to have big dreams, right? Because big dreams is how things happen. Like business wise, if the big dreamers didn't take the shot, we wouldn't know anything. Oprah was fired like 20 something times before she got her own show. Walt Disney, the Mickey Mouse, was his 1001st drawing and the first one accepted. Howard Schultz, the owner of Starbucks, went bankrupt before he started Starbucks. So it's like we want them to have big dreams, but at the same time, you're right, like realistic, what's realistic. So we talk about, SMART goals, and SMART's an acronym that specific, measurable, blah, 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 blah. Really focusing on SMART goals, and then, and just recognizing too that like some of this is like a natural sequence of things. Again, sometimes generationally we're expected to do things. So like, one of my grandmothers was like, you never leave the house without taking a bath and brushing your hair. And for some of us that translated into looking your best every time you walk out of the house. So now there's an expectation built, and that's a familial type of expectation, right? Or like in some people's, like a lot of young men's cases, like they're really the man of the house. So imagine the expectations that come with that, and the pressure that is put on some of these kids because of that title alone, and then you move into like society's expectations, right? So you have mentioned like makeup, and I always laugh at, I love it because makeup is like one of the biggest fights between men and women, I feel like. And like, you're right, on one hand, like these young girls and the lengths that they're willing to go to change their appearance, right? But that also comes from somewhere. Like the boy that she liked picked the girl with more makeup on last time. Or like you'll see a lot of online fights between men and women. And I talk about they don't like the fake lashes and the fake nails and this and that. But that's the same ladies that you're cheating on your wife with. So and vice versa too. Women do the same thing with men, right? Like we have this great guy. He treats us awesome. He goes to work. We're like this partnership, but like something is going on, and we want this bad boy. We want the guy that treats us like crap. And I don't know why. I don't know why it happens, but it does. It happens so often. You see it online, especially all the time. We watch it because that's really what social media does for us, right? It gives us a glimpse into the real person's everyday life. And so we watch all of these lives unfold and all these patterns emerge. And, so that's kind of what we're trying to do with the mentorship. And that's why mentorship is so important, because you take these people that want to make a difference in these kids' lives, and actively are aware of what they're doing, and go forward. The Ann and Isaac Foundation, the event that we're going to put on, like I said, for boys and girls, because we want them to see, and it's heavily based in the idea of STEM, which is now actually STEAM, science, technology, engineering, architecture, and mathematics. And we have workshops for all sorts of different things. I have a cousin in the city who is a dancer, and so he's going to do a dance class. I have another cousin in Boston who customizes sneakers. We have people from architecture firms. We have engineers, and showing them that there's more to life than this projection of ourselves.
I'll meet you in the middle on your statement about social media gives you a glimpse of the person's real life. Depending on how it's used, because 99% of social media is to give you a glimpse of this fantasy life.
Right.
Because just go down your timeline, right? Like there's stacks of money everywhere. I'm like, does the bank actually have any dollars left at this point?
Yeah, and I would amend my statement to that. The social media and the internet gives you a glimpse of like what people want to portray themselves to be. That's more of what you're seeing,
Right.
But it's not celebrities. We watch celebrities on TV, And that kind of is like, we kind of hold them at a different standard. And you've seen that in the news, like lately, especially with Will Smith and like DJ Envy. But then you have
I don't even know what happened with DJ Envy. But,
oh my God, it's crazy. The wife went on the Breakfast Club talking about she fakes orgasms, and then he slept with Erica Mena, and it's crazy. It's just crazy. It's like,
but like,
you know,
I thought that was known already. Like, I mean,
yeah.
like, anyway,
still.
But these are, so what I mean is that we're seeing whether it's a false type of life or real life, we have the ability now to watch like the lives of the kids or people that we went to school with, or people in the old neighborhood, or coworkers. That sort of thing.
Man, actually, before we get too far away from it, you were talking about people who like gain success later in life. And one person who always sticks out to me is DJ K Slay, who we just lost, who didn't get a break until he was 40.
Yeah.
Right? Like he just made his break later in life.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to K Slay. Just wanted to make sure we got that out there, while we were especially talking about people.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
You know, I think you bring up an interesting point with the examples you gave of the people that made it. But I think, with the reality baked into it, like, that's a whole lot of luck. Right?
Oh,
because,
absolutely.
Like, Walt Disney was broke. He cashed in his life insurance policy to make the park function and run in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And like, it could have easily gone the other way, and he had no life insurance policy and died like a struggling, visionary and animator. And the same with, I mean, so
Tesla died broke.
Right. And so I think that's a part of the reality component, at least. That needs to be shared also is like, hey, like you can be really good at something, but it also takes luck, right? There's only like 327 NBA players, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at like Duke's team, everybody 1 through 15 average 50 points in their hometown, and only 8 of them get to play.
Yeah.
Right. So, it takes luck, right? And luck might come in the form of you might be the 11th person on the bench, the third backup center, and the starting center breaks his neck, and now you're in the rotation, right?
Yep.
And like you practice, you're really good, but your luck, your number hasn't been called because the luck just hasn't happened for you. So,
and that's kind of what we're trying to do with the mentoring portion of the foundation. Like I said, I'm not nearly involved as some of my other family members are at this juncture, but I'm kind of like easing into it and kind of helping where I can. But like, that's kind of where we're going. It's like I said, we hold celebrities to such a high standard. Like, we consider success like celebrity level status, but is that like entirely accurate? Just like sometimes I think financially we consider success by what kind of car we drive, or do we have the newest Jordans, or what am I wearing, what type of jewelry am I wearing, is that really a measure of success, or is that the measure of success that we want these kids to think about? So at this mentoring summit, again, all the workshop presenters were real people who were successful, who were business owners, who, were doing what they love, who had come back from, really dark places and are now here. And and that's kind of what we want. We need engineers, we need scientists, we need architects, we need, we need farmers, we need, there's so many things. So like, that's, I guess what we really need to do, especially for these kids, is like define what's success. What is success?
Agreed. I read a good quote on the internet recently that was like, success is when you wake up in the morning happy. And that's it. Right? Like, people with more money than you wake up miserable. People with less money than you wake up worrying about how they're gonna get their next meal. If you wake up happy, you've achieved a level of success.
Exactly. And recognizing that, like, feelings are temporary, that happiness, you're not going to be happy all the time. It's unrealistic to think about that, so to realize like you're going to have ups and downs, but to be willing to explore, something that you may love doing and putting in the hard work to get it done,
I think the only other thing I can think of is as you're building your plan for success, understand what your backup plan is and be happy with that as well.
Yeah.
Because you can run your backup plan until, again, luck, falls in your favor, and then you can execute plan A. But like if you're like, I'm all in on plan A and I don't have a backup plan, well, good luck.
Yep.
Because
Plan B is to
thing never
enforce
happened,
plan A.
and then you become, upset, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Kofi, you're right, but you're like, damn, dude, you're the glass is half full type of guy, right? Like,
No,
jeez.
but one thing I will like kind of give you a bit of credit for is the other thing that kind of makes you realize that you're successful is not forgetting once you have the thing you want, right? Like we go through hella periods as people where like the thing I want most in life is a PlayStation. And you get that PlayStation and you're like, the thing I want most in life is a car. And you get a car and you're like, the thing I want more, and you just keep moving the goalposts.
Yeah.
Never sit in the happiness of the thing that you wanted. At some point, you have everything you've ever wanted, and you just keep looking further down the goal.
It's still not enough. Yeah.
So like enjoy like as an orphan, owning a home was my ultimate goal, right? Like that was the thing, right? Having something to pass down to my children, success, right? Like that was it.
Yep. Coming from a place of gratefulness, like we talked about at the beginning. But I like the realism because that's the other component to it, right? So we want them to have big dreams. We want them to shoot and aim high. But at the same time, not everybody's going to be a rapper. Not everybody is going to be a professional athlete. So what do we love to do? And what can we do right now and right here, to make your situation better? Or how can we help you to help yourself,
Kofi, you want to add anything?
No,
I think she kind of hit it on the head for us, man. It's really been a pleasure to have you. You gave Lamar a run. He might have to come back on and try and top this because you did your thing. I enjoyed it. I don't usually get to sit back and watch too much. I enjoyed this one.
Yeah, no, like I said, I've been watching since you guys had him on, and I just appreciate what you guys are doing. Like I think that maybe not specifically the content within your podcast, but like the idea of what you guys are doing, like helps our relationship too. It makes me more open to recognize like, hey, he has feelings too. Hey, he's going through stuff too. Hey, like, it becomes this situation where it's not me versus him anymore. It's me and him versus the world. And at that point, no one can stop us,
Ooh, she got you again, G.
Yeah, that was it.
Just do the outro for him.
Yeah, that was it. I'm wrapping it up on that one, man. This was a great comeback episode. Chanel, again, thank you. We appreciate you. You were a great guest, and you got an open invitation to come back whenever you like, man, for real.
I will take you up on that.
Nice.
Wait, before you do the outro, do you want to just give the information for the organization just one more time, just so that we can make sure that
so the organization is Anna and I, Zach. It's a foundation that my family started. We're going to be doing an event in Baltimore, I'm hoping in October. The website is ANANIZACH.com, and you can check that out.
Awesome.
There you have it. You already know what it is. Whoever you are, wherever you are, no matter what you're doing, just be inspired. Choose to inspire, not destroy. You heard? Peace.
Yo, choose to inspire, not destroy.